evening and can I have a motion to resume from recess?
So moved.
Motion has been made by Council Marmol. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Luzon. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Councilors, we're now in day 2 of budget hearings. Today, we're gonna hear from the City Council, Mayor's Office, Office of Planning and Development, that includes Office of Community Development, Planning Office, Planning Boards and Commission, Planning Zoning Board, Economic Development, and the Police Department. Okay. All right, we are going to start off with the Office of Planning and Development. Do we have the director here with us tonight? Nope. Department heads need to be here in person. So this office is going to be rescheduled. Next, we have the Police Department. Oh, can you, is it on, the mic?
Oh, no, sorry. My apologies. Good evening, City Councils. Rosa Shepard from the Lawrence Police Department, 90 Lowell Street, Lawrence, Massachusetts. I am here to present the fiscal year 26 for the Lawrence Police Department. As requested, we did a balanced budget for and the budget for this year is $18,520,380.
On page 867. Councilors, we're on page 67. 67 through 69. Oh, I'm sorry, there's more. 67 through
74.
74. Thank you, Director. All right, I'm sorry, can we start over?
Not a problem.
Thank you.
So I'm here to present the Police Department budget for the fiscal year 2026. We did a balanced budget per request after they do it every year. And this year, it is $18,520,380. With an increase of $702,413, which is a 3.84% from last year.
Can we go over specifically where the $702,413 is being allocated towards?
Sure. If we go to page 69, which is a police administration, there were salary increases. There were a salary increase on the deputy chief. It wasn't last year for $175,000. There was an increase for the director of police and community relations. She went from $95,365 to $99,500, which is an increase of $4,135. The director of support services, from last year, we have an increase, went from $90,346 to $94,600, which is an increase of $4,254. We had a decrease of the confidential secretary, which is budget for 2, and which is a decrease for $8,080.
So we have budgeted 2 confidential secretaries with a decrease of a little bit over 8,000. Why is that?
Because it's just going to show the exact amount of what they're getting paid.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Give me 1 second, Counselor. And can you explain the need of a deputy chief? for a deputy chief. And I would like an honest answer. Do we actually need a deputy chief or not?
Madam Chair, good evening to all. In full disclosure here, I got confirmed less than 24 hours ago, so I had absolutely no input or say as to the composition of this budget, or there were no suggestions or, consultation with me in any way, shape, or form. At this point, what I have is the proposed budget, and I still haven't gone through it with a fine-tooth comb insofar as trying to figure out what is required and what isn't required. To your more direct question as to whether or not a deputy chief is needed, my answer is no. And what I don't want to do is, make a mistake here and lose $175,000. I need that money. I just need to reallocate it in a way that makes us more operationally efficient. I could use that money in other places if allowed to do so. I'm still learning as to how that can be done. We have been in communications, and I will continue to be in communication, and I would like the opportunity, if I could, maybe to come back and explain a little bit of that. But the answer to that question, for one particular individual, when I could basically use it for maybe advertising, hiring more individuals and I'd like to have the option and opportunity to do that.
Okay, actually, you just said what I was thinking as you were speaking. I was going to present you the option of coming back to the budget hearing. We do have additional days if that makes. Okay. Because you just got confirmed. I mean, you just got sworn in a few hours ago. So congratulations and welcome as you're making your first appearance as chief. So I know there's a lot of catching up to do. Our last day we have from tomorrow on until June 2nd. So if you would like, review those dates and let me know what date you guys prefer to come back. That way you guys can have time to sit down and connect and go through your budget appropriately. Is that fair? Does that seem?
It sounds fair enough, Madam Chair. And to be honest, I mean, and to be clear, I'm not saying indefinitely, but my priority list is on my sights on other things. So for now.
All right, cool.
Okay,
So
thank you.
I will look forward to a communication from the police department of when you guys will be returning.
Certainly.
Thank you, Chief. Oh, hold on, Council President? Oh, do you still want to ask now? You wanna ask now? Okay.
A little bit of clearance on that. Essentially, what I understand about the budget is that when you have the personal services, if you want to transfer to another section, you're going to have council approval. If we approve this budget as is, right?
Yes, unless he is looking to use it in the same section of personal services.
Yeah, personal services, you can use it within personal services,
Correct.
which is hiring people, that's fine. But you won't be able to transfer it over to professional services perhaps. If this budget get approved now that we are in the process of approving the budget, that can be transferred and we just need to reprint the book, right?
Correct.
I just want to make sure like we're clear on that, and if this is the time for the chief to make any potential adjustment if the administration and the chief sit down and discuss together with you. So it's better off to do it now.
So
than-
he has the whole division of the police department, not only the admin. So we look at the whole division. So it includes the operations, it includes the administration side, it includes the animal control, so all the divisions. So it can be amongst all 4 or 3 departments that money can be used in the personal services section.
Basically, employees. Yeah. I just want to, we're clear on that, so before we approve the budget, it's better off to have those discussions now, because, I mean, I understand that you just come in and we're just throwing in a question. But I mean, is it needed? Potentially, yes. Is the position needed? I don't know. It's based on how you feel, based on how you want to manage the police, and also the administration, how they feel about things. But I mean, this is the right time to have those type of discussions. I just want to have the CAFO to kind of clarify that, because the question was raised in general. But thank you.
All right, Chief, Chief and Director, before you guys leave, we do have one other question from Councilor Luzon. Councilor Luzon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. CAFO mentioned yesterday that they were proposing a level budget, and the lady representing the police department mentioned a balanced budget. There is a difference there? Can you explain why are we seeing a different type of budget for the police department?
So I think she meant level funded, but actually, yes. Actually, the increases here are representative of the Quinn bill. As you know, that was approved as a package for the police department. So someone with an associate's will get percentage increase, with the bachelor's will get 20%, and with the master's will get 25%. So we have seen a lot of the police officers getting their education credits, and therefore, that's something that needs to be adjusted in the budget.
So this is a level funded budget?
With the exception of those things that we need to honor,
Okay.
per the Quinn bill, correct.
Okay. And if I may, Madam Chair, another question for the Chief of Police. And in regards to the position that the Madam Chair refers, would you be looking into the captains to do the job that it may be, that this position will be doing? Because you have now, how many captains you have now?
I have 4 captains right now. And there is going to be, as part of our organizational restructuring, there's going to be a redistribution of responsibilities as far as the captains are concerned. And again, the council president's point, perhaps down the line we can revisit the utility of that, but my initial reaction, in particular, when we do have to take issues like the Quinn bill into consideration, my initial response is no, not at this time. Perhaps later down the road, but right now there are priorities, and they'd have to do with personnel. The more officers that I hire, the more that I reduce the overtime need. And the more relief that I bring to the men and women of the department insofar as, burning them out. So I'm thinking long-term as far as the reduction of our expenditures, and especially with the overtime, which is one of the biggest issues that we have there.
And through you, Madam Chair, I just want to remind the new Chief of Police that last night he mentioned the chain of command. For me and for, as the counselor for District B, it is important to keep that in order. That's one. The other thing is that based on some issues that we are seeing with the budget, and it's important to take a look of the raises, salary raise that it was presented. Because I think that it's time to be conservative with the entire city budget. So please take a look of that. And when you come back, I would like to hear from you. But I mean, please take in consideration those salary raises that are being proposed. I think it's not the time for that. And hopefully you can have an answer for us. But from my point of view, we need to think about that seriously. This is not the time to be spending money due to the issues that we're seeing in the city budget. Thank you, Chief.
Certainly. I want you to know that the budget is something that is of utmost importance to me. I just met with Human Resource Director Garcia today. I wanted to clarify that we do have, in fact, and I believe that Director Shepard could speak more about it, we do have, in fact, a clause that any hires that are going through the police academy must serve the city of Lawrence at least 3 years before that they go anywhere else. If they don't, they have to repay us back 100%. Additionally, I spoke with them, and now all letters of employment that are going to be going out are going to reiterate that, so nobody can say something slipped through the cracks. If you're going to serve our community, if we're going to invest in you, we expect that you invest back with us. So, yeah, I'll keep all of that foremost and at the forefront of my considerations always.
Thank you, Chief, and thank you, Madam Chair. And we know that you have not had the chance to review your budget, that this was not proposed by you. You just got to the job. So I'm assuming that you're going to take a look and take my recommendation serious. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So when you,
Your questions without, and with no expectation of an answer, so they can write it and then they come back.
President.
Yeah, I have a few questions that I'm not expecting you guys to answer, because, I mean, it's not fair. But eventually, once you come, so we don't have to repeat the same questions. So essentially, I would like you to go over, I mean, probably Shopper will be able to answer this right away, but I mean, when it comes to the grant reimbursement, that's the 58 grants that we approve here at the council that add up to that amount throughout the year. That's correct?
We only base it on the 3 main grants that we usually get every year, which is the 911 training grant, the 911 supporting incentive, and the municipal staffing grant. Those are the 3 big ones that we really dedicate a lot of time to make sure that they stay approved for us. Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
Another thing that I would like to know is that based on previous years, I see that there is an increasement significantly on I see a significant increasement in holiday pays compared to previous years. I see that in 2024 we have, well, no, never mind. It is not significant. I was looking at a 1 and it's really a 5. I don't have my glasses. But yes, I wanted to know also a quick explanation about the grant reimbursement, you just mentioned it, and also the lost time factor, which is, I believe, is the retirement for some officers.
No, it is the vacancies that we have for the police for the vacancies that we have for the police department. That's it, the time loss factor. Mm-hmm.
The vacancies?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. So we are allocating about $500,000 for that, $588,000 for that.
Yes.
All right. In general, I see that you have 5 captains. I want to know, like, you know, how many of those are active, if there is any that are down. I mean, if there is any plan to have them back, and essentially, how we're going to reallocate those resources. On the budget is funds, but in reality, it's resources to make sure that we correspond funds to people, to sequentially services. So that's going to be the main idea about, you know, any type of safety funds that we have. We allocate perhaps the police department as well as the fire department. So in general, those 3, 4 questions around that. All right, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So when you guys are ready, email our secretary.
Yes.
With the date that you guys are available to come back, and she will let me know. Or you can even CC me too, that way.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Will do. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I see that Director Awilda Pimentel is on Zoom. Director, if you can hear me, I sent your department home. All department heads need to be here in person, unless I'm notified ahead of time. I was not aware that you were going to be on Zoom. So I did say to your team that the budget hearing for the Office of Planning and Development will be. I'm sorry? Director? Yeah, and I did read the notice last night about department heads needing to be here in person. No, not last night, Monday night, Monday night. Okay, all right, we're gonna continue. CAFO, we have a presentation, the revenues and expenditures presentation that we, decided to do today. So we are ready when you are, and I think we have the revenues, counselors, you do have the revenues presentation in front of you.
I'm going to have it on screen. Yeah.
The reason why
Yep.
is because we talk about there, they don't see what we see.
Absolutely. That's
I
right.
get that complaint yesterday, like, you guys talk a lot about numbers, but I mean, what are those numbers?
Yes, I agree. Okay. So I'm going to review some of the terminologies that we all use here, and probably we're all used to it, but maybe of the residents may not be used to a lot of the terminologies we use, so I'll try to explain it to make it simple for them to understand. The revenues. For the FY26 budget, the revenues total is $469,611,865. It's made up of mainly 4 categories. The first one is taxes and excise, which comprise of personal property tax and real estate tax. The sum of the two is what we call the tax levy, which I'm going to explain on my next slide. State revenue, $351,000, and that is mainly from the school chapter 78. It's $317 million, and unrestricted general governmental aid. Those are the 2 major ones in the state revenue section. Local receipts, I presented to you a few months ago what makes up all the local receipts, the biggest one being our motor vehicle excise, $6.5 million. We also have charges for services, licenses and permits, interest income, and so forth. Other financing sources, that's made up of 2 major things. We have the $5 million, which we're transferring from the Stabilization Reserve Fund, and indirect costs from the enterprise funds. Okay, Proposition 2.5, here we go. It was adopted by the Massachusetts voters back in 1980. This is meant to limit the amount the property taxes can be charged to a community each year. Before, the community used to create this budget, and they just used to charge the taxpayers whatever was necessary to make up the revenues. Now we're capped at 2.5%. This doesn't apply to your bill. So if somebody's looking and say, my bill is going to go up by 2.5, that's not necessarily how it works. I'll explain later how that is derived at. The tax levy is the amount a community can raise every year through real and personal property taxes. This is the total, like we saw on the previous page, is the personal property tax and the real estate taxes. So it's basically all the revenues needed to raise, to be funded for all the revenues in the city, except for the state revenue, the local receipts, and the other financing sources. The levy limit. The levy limit is the amount a community can levy in a fiscal year. It can grow by 2.5% from the prior year's levy limit plus the new growth. This year's new growth is $1.2 million, and it varies every year, and we get these numbers from the assessor's office. Excess levy capacity. This is basically the levy limit minus the levy. These two items we described in the previous slide, this is what makes up the excess levy capacity. And I have another slide that's going to show you what the excess levy capacity is for the city of Lawrence. Right now it's at $13 million. The new growth is the calculation of the increase in property values due to different things. New constructions, new buildings, additions, exempt property being returned to the tax roll, and the like. This is a little interactive map that I like to share to show you where Lawrence stands within the state. I'm going to go on the internet, and I'm going to show here. So this is an interactive map that the DLS, Department of Local Services, creates. So as I click on the city of Lawrence, it shows that the maximum levy is $101 million, $449,628. The excess levy capacity as of 2025 was $13 million, $66,735. The percentage of our tax levy capacity over the levy is 12.8%. And if you look at the color of our city, which in this graph is green, and then we go to the green section here, it shows that in 2025, 44 communities from the Massachusetts 351 cities and towns are falling in this section. So 44 communities are at the 10 to 20%. Oh, I lost that. There it is. So this is the city of Lawrence. Where'd it go? Here we go. 12.8%, which is in this 10 to 20%. So like I said, only 44 communities fall in this range. So our tax excess levy capacity is pretty healthy. Okay, going back to the presentation. Okay, so I think this is a very important slide because it shows how the tax is really calculated. First, we start with a 2024 levy limit. We add the, sorry. Okay, so I want to show you how we came up with the tax levy for 2026. But before we do that, we have to start with the previous year. When we came up with a 2025 tax levy, we have to use the levy limit from the prior year. And I'm sorry to use these terms, but these are the technical terms we have to use. We add 2.5% of the levy limit, and then we add the new growth, which was $1,420,000. So the $101 million you see, minus the levy for 25, created an excess levy capacity of $13 million. All right, so let's go to 2026. 2026, we start with the levy limit from 25, and then we add the 2.5%, which comes up to be $2,536,241. Then we add the new growth, which was $1,002,000. $105,185,869 is the levy limit. That is the amount that the state of Massachusetts allows a municipality to tax. We are not taxing the whole levy limit. We are deducting the excess levy capacity of $13,066,735, and we're also reducing it by the allowance for abatements and exemptions. These are the abatements that we allow for, we have an assessor right here, the amount we allow the taxpayers for the tax bill to be reduced due to an abatement or an exemption, such as elderly, veterans, and blind. I believe those are the exemptions we have. So we do put money aside. We reduce the total levy by the $575 that we apply this year. So the levy for 2026 is $91,544,131. What does that mean? If you look at the $88,382,893 from 25 minus the $91 million, the levy for the levy increase between 25 fiscal 25 and fiscal 26 is $3,161,241. That's the amount of money that the taxes will go up for FY 26. That includes personal and real property. Any questions? I know it's a lot. So let me show you another interactive map, the DLS website, that yes, you have it? All right, so it's also another nice tool that the DLS has out there for anybody that wants to go and check it out. So if we go to the city of Lawrence, this little yellow town here, it shows that the average single-family assessed value is $450,108. The income per capita for the city of Lawrence is $20,919. Yes. The number of single-family parcels is 4,293, and the residential tax rate in FY '25 was $8.80. If you look at the Essex County cities and towns, there's about 34 cities and towns in the Essex County. Lawrence has the third lowest tax rate at $8.80. Okay? If you go here to the tax bill range legend, Lawrence falls in the second lowest tax bill in the state of Massachusetts. I have another slide to show you here. This is the last, forget why it's going there. This shows the last 5 fiscal years. It shows the residential and the commercial, industrial, and personal property tax rate. So back in 2021, the residential tax rate was at $12.27. But if you look at the total assessed value, it was only $5,251,039,912. That total assessed value is the total fair and full value of all the tax properties in the city of Lawrence. But notice 2025, it dramatically increased. It went to $401,670,520. A lot of people ask, if you're not increasing taxes that much, why is my tax bill so high? And it has to do with the value. The value of the properties have increased tremendously in the whole state, and I would say maybe the whole country. And as you can see, the residential tax rate, it's very low compared to previous years. It's the lowest in 5 years. It's only $8.80. But they don't see a reduction because their value is making up the difference. So their value of the property is a lot higher, even though the residential tax rate is so low, they don't see a reduction in their tax bill. This is another DLS tool that I thought will be very helpful. So then I enter the city of Lawrence. I enter the amount that the taxes will go by, which is what the amount I shared with you earlier, which is a tax levy, $3,161,241. By doing that, the tax rate, which currently is at $8.80, I don't know if you can see it right there, I'm circling it, $8.80. If I put the $3 million that we're proposing the taxes to increase by, the tax rate will be at $9.11. Again, this is an estimate. The 911's right here. That's how much the $3 million effect is going to be on the new tax rate. Now, for an average house, single-family assessed value property that right now is assessed, let's say, $450,000, the increase that we have in the budget of $3,161,000. It will be an estimate, just so that nobody's calling everybody and saying, my taxes went up for more or less. It's an estimate. It's not an exact number. There's a lot of numbers that come into the equation here. The estimated increase will be $139 for a property, a single-family house that is currently estimated at $450,000. So again, the tax rate right now for the city of Lawrence is $880. By increasing the taxes to $3,161,000, which is the levy, the estimated new tax rate is going to go from $880 to $911, and the estimated impact on the increase on the taxes will be approximately $139. Okay, that was a lot. So before I go into a little bit of a summary of the expenditures, I'm open for questions. If you want to review any of the terminologies for the sake of whoever might not understand it in the public, I'm willing to do so as
We
well.
have our first question, Council President.
Thank you, through you, Madam Chair. Ramona, thank you for the presentation. Even though I believe that this presentation it should be in November when we set up the rate.
Right, but that
It
presentation.
shouldn't be now.
No, but that's what we're estimating the taxes to go up by, so you do need it
No,
now.
because the thing is like we now dealing with the total amount of taxes that we're going to increase, not the percentage based on the average of the household, of
Yes.
the average of the estimated value of the property. That presentation will be in order
Right.
in November.
Right, so
Right
you
now, we're
will,
talking
in
about
November, what
something
you're going
else.
to do is decide the percentage between residential and commercial, industrial. So
Yeah, in
that's where-
November, what we do, we set up the rate between anywhere between 170 to 175, which 175 means the maximum amount of dollars that the people are gonna be saving based on residential compared to commercial. I got it, but I mean, this is what you're describing right now is just that.
But do
Yeah.
you know that in order for you to get there, you need to address the 3,000,001 that we are proposing to increase?
Right now, what we need to address perhaps is that the fact that we're going all the way to the 2.5% increasement on the tax levy.
Yes,
And also, what we need to address, the fact that we have a $1.2 million estimate new growth, which everybody's gonna be paying for it. And if we put those two in perspective and in percentage, that's gonna be an average potentially of over 4% increasement, That's what-
3.58 to be exact.
3.58. So that's gonna be a significant impact because as you mentioned within your presentation, the household per capita in the city of Lawrence is just $20,000. And that's why I kind of scream from here, that's important number. Because, I mean, I don't want to be kind of like, talking out of kind of like, out of order, but I mean, it's kind of like, it is fair to recognize that Lawrence is not anywhere near any community within the Merrimack Valley.
Yes.
That's why an impact on the taxes is significant for our community because we don't have that household income that is over $70,000 perhaps like any of few communities around us per capita, meaning that the little kids also make $70,000 in average. So it's like essentially it's significant. And I'm not saying that I'm against taxes. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that it is important to recognize the impact within our community, even though potentially we vote one way or another way. So it's like, that's why I'm saying the presentation you're giving us is great. But it will be in order in November since we are actually accept the fact that we are going to increase taxes through the budget, approve it, and then back in November. Further up in November, we're going to talk about how they're going to distribute those.
I thought it was very important to note, because a lot of people make the assumption that it's taking last year's real and personal taxes and timesing it by 2.5. It's not. It's actually, and then when they do the percentage, they say, okay, so why is it more than 2.5? Because we're actually calculating it including the excess levy capacity. So that makes a big difference. You're not just doing the levy, you're doing it, like I showed on one of my pages, you actually take the whole levy limit times 2.5, which is a larger number. It includes the 13 million of excess levy capacity. Okay, so expenditures. I think you have the second. Okay, so you do have these numbers in the book, but I thought it would be helpful to kind of give you an overview, including the increases, and I can explain what the differences are. This is expenditures by function, and this is the functions detailed by the Department of Revenue. It's not anything that we came up with. This is the way we're supposed to budget. General government includes City Council, the CAFO division, controllers, treasurers. It mainly includes all the administration offices within the city. Public safety includes the police, fire, and inspectional services. Education, it's Lawrence Public Schools, the charter schools, Greater Lawrence Technical School assessment as well. Public works and facilities includes public works and the cemetery. Human services, Council on Aging, the Veterans Department. Culture and recreation, it's the Recreation Department as well as the Lawrence Public Library. The debt service, it includes the principal and interest that we have to pay for both the city and the school. Intergovernmental, those are the assessments we receive from the Sherry Sheet. The Sherry Sheet is what the mechanism that the state uses to send out the revenues and assessments for the year. The miscellaneous, that's a big number. That includes the pension assessment, the health and dental insurance, the Medicare, unemployment, property and auto insurance. I want to point out to you the increase in the education. It's $31 million, about 10%. The school will be here presenting their budget, but basically it has to do with the Student Opportunity Act, how the calculation is different, and now they have so many years where they will add to the various communities to bring them up to where they believe the education should be. Lawrence, we have various things that affect that. It has to do with the income as well as the ESL students that we have, and maybe the special needs and so forth. The school is better at it, but I'm just kind of giving you a little overview of that. The culture and recreation, it's mainly the library. As you recall, the library used to be under a waiver, and per the municipal appropriation requirement, which is the MAR, we're supposed to meet certain level of appropriation for the library, and that is per the library commissioners. So we are, I think, officially out of the waiver, and that's why you see that significant increase there, and that was what took us to come out of the waiver. I want to take you to a different view of our expenditures. This is by function. Now I'm going to show it to you by category, which we also call character code. You might be familiar with that terminology if you look at a Munis report. So in this case, we're showing you the personal services, which includes salaries, overtime, longevity, uniform allowances, and so forth. Purchase of services, things as utilities, repairs and maintenance, advertising, auditing, snow removal, that's in the purchase of services category. Then we also have supplies, operating supplies. Intergovernmental is a big number. That includes the pension and also includes other state assessments, again, from the Sherry Sheet. Other charges and expenses, that is a big number. What is there? That includes $46 million of the charter school assessments that is assessed by the state. We have no choice in that. Health insurance, about $16.8 million. Property and auto insurance, dental insurance, unemployment, Medicare. All that is in the other charges and expenses. Capital outlay, pretty straightforward. Debt service, again, we talked about that, city and school principal and interest. And other uses, that is the pay-as-you-go that the city puts aside every year, which is a 1.5% of the previous year levy, and the contingency reserve. That's just the city side. It excludes the school department because the school department only submits, is they're only required to present a one-line item for their budget. They are, they have the control over their internal allocations. So that is the total there. We don't have that breakdown from the school. So that 469 is the same number on the previous page. It's just on a different format that shows the expenditures by category. And we're gonna touch upon a lot of these sections when we go onto the different sections in the budget that you have in the agenda. But this is kind of more like an overview that shows everything in one page. I don't mean to overwhelm you with a lot of numbers and a lot of details, but if you have any questions, I'm more happy to respond. Hopefully I have the answer.
Councilors, any questions or comments? Give them a second. Nothing is good? Oh,
Madam Chair, essentially,
Council President.
essentially, we're gonna have multiple questions throughout the budget
Yeah.
that are gonna be reflecting this same number.
Yes,
And we're gonna be questioning per department, which is basically
yes.
same thing.
Great. Councilor Luzon.
Yes, I do have a question. Thank you, CAFO, for presenting a lot of information.
Yes.
A lot of numbers. And actually, can you share your presentation?
Absolutely. What
yeah.
page?
I know all of it.
All of it? Okay, yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
If it's possible,
Yeah.
yeah. That way I have it ready if anyone asks. I don't know if you mentioned it, but intergovernmental, what is that?
Okay, so are we, what page are we on?
We are in,
I think, are you referring to the term itself, or?
to the term.
Okay,
term.
so intergovernmental means that it's within the government. So for example, it's one of the pages in your book. So we have there, I can point you to the page, that will be probably a little more helpful. It's towards the end of your budget book.
Yeah, that's well, I'm glad you sent it to
Yep.
you, Madam
And
Chair.
it's on page 144. So that includes special education assessment, air pollution, regional transit authority, RMV charges. All those come from the cherry sheet. We don't have a say on them. They're given to us by the state. The Merrimack Regional Planning, that's also sent to us based on, the Merrimack Regional Planning has various municipalities from the area, and they charge us an assessment based on the population. And then the state assessment is the non-contributory pensioners for the COLA reimbursement, and we've had that for about 10 years, and we hope to be paid up with that in 2034. So these are assessments that we have no choice. They're given to us by the state, and they call intergovernmental because it's within the government entities.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
So essentially, on page 144, we're seeing here that the Regional Transit Authority, they're gonna be getting about $1.3 million
That's
from the
correct.
city of Lawrence. And also, I'm seeing here that the registered motor vehicles are charged.
Mhm.
It's about $389,500, which is basically anything related to ticket that they actually
Yes, so
process.
when somebody doesn't pay their motor vehicle excise tax bill, the registry marks the vehicle so that owners cannot renew their licenses until they pay that. So they do charge a certain amount for each mark that they do, and they charge us via the cherry sheet. It's an assessment.
And then essentially how we get that $389,000 back, 390,000? Once the
So-
people pay
Yes.
the bill.
Yes.
So we get
once
that in reimbursement?
there is a fee that they keep, and we get a percentage of that as well. And then they come once they pay their excise bill. We get a fee or something that we charge.
Yeah, essentially, we ended up getting that money that we gave them through the charity sheet?
I believe there is a portion of it that we have to pay as a fee to the RMV, but we do get the money when they do pay the excise tax bills. The city does get that.
All right, just get a little bit of clarification
Sure.
on that and provide it with the number from previous year so we're clear. So
Absolutely.
essentially, the transit, the regional transit authority is just to provide transportation around the region, and that's also including the
The cherry sheet?
no, I know that's included on there.
Mm-hmm.
But is that also including the free ride, free fares that we pay?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
We're gonna go into recess. Motion has been made, is there a second? Actually, we're going into recess. We're going into recess. Okay, we are ready. All right, we're coming back from an emergency, recess. What? Oh, hold on. I don't know. Okay, we're good? All right, we're back from an emergency recess. The city council chamber, we experienced an emergency safety situation where we thought something happened and it ended up being a rock that was thrown at one of our windows. Everyone's safe, everyone's here. We want to thank LPD for their rapid response. They were able to get here quickly and handle the situation, and I'm sure they will have more information for us as they continue with their investigation. So we apologize for that, obviously safety first, but now we are back, and we are going to continue with our budget hearing meeting. I believe, I don't even in my mind right now. I do know, I do remember, Council President, you were in the middle of asking our CAFO a few questions. So I'm just gonna give you the floor again and let you guys figure out where you guys left off.
Where were we?
Thank you.
Mike.
I don't remember your question, sorry. That's
Well,
good.
essentially, I was
Oh,
elaborating
the
around-
buses, the
yeah,
transit authority.
Yeah. elaborating
Yes,
ar-
so it's my understanding they do charge an assessment through all the municipalities that participate in that program, so that's what that represents.
Yeah, then I was saying that if this amount incur into the total amount that we use in relationship to not just being part of the authority, but perhaps also providing
ride.
free ride. If this amount is including that, due to the fact that that's a program that we initiated here in Lawrence and people use, people take advantage of it. I just want to make sure, like, whether or not we've seen the total amount with the free ride, or perhaps we're going to see another allocation in the future for that.
I don't believe we'll see another allocation from the budget.
Questions, Madam Chair?
Council Marmo.
The debt that the city currently has, which is a little over, what is it, 13 million? I'm not sure if there are, with future presentations with other departments, if we're gonna have the opportunity to discuss, what is the city's plan in repaying this debt? I'm not seeing, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, so for this fiscal year, is the city making any type of plans in making any payments towards that debt? And if so, what seems to be, what is the plan of action? Are we allocating a certain specific dollars, and we're hoping to see this $13 million resolved within the next, 5 years? What seems to be the long-term plan?
Yes. So if I may take you to page 170, it's a page we kind of touched upon on Monday. It shows the schedule of debt outstanding. As of the end of FY '25, our outstanding debt was will be $158,850,000. And including the principal payments that we'll be making, along with the interest payment, our outstanding debt is expected to be $150,560,000 at the end of FY '26. Now, this is just the school and the city. The next page, page 171, has the debt outstanding for the water and sewer department. We do have a amortization schedule that I kind of share with the group today, and it shows the plan to pay the debt, and each debt has its own issue date, maturity, and it has its own specifications in terms of the payment. So the amortization shows what our yearly payment is for principal and interest for each of the loans. So we do have a plan to pay it off, and as we pay off debt, we do add more debt. We just added the Tuna schools and the police station, so that was added on. So our debt capacity is pretty high right now. So as debt drops off, then we'll be adding more capital improvement for the infrastructure of the city and the schools.
Out of curiosity, and this is for my end, getting to learn what debt means, and what is and what is considered normal. So our neighboring cities and towns, what is their? Do you happen to know the amount of debt that they're in, so I can have an idea if we're kind of like on the excessive end of things?
So we do work with a financial advisor when it comes to debt, and they advise us, and they make sure we're on track. The Mass General Laws also shows what the level of debt is allowed for each municipality based on the ability to pay it back. So it's not just like we're just going to go and borrow money, all the money that we want. There is a statute in the Mass General Laws that says this is how much debt you can borrow based on your revenues and based on your ability to pay it back. And we are within those yes, exactly, yes.
But what is the level of debt according to the Mass General Laws?
I can provide you a lot of detail when we come to that section in the budget review. I believe that's in a future agenda. So I'll definitely bring that up to tell you, read you off what that says, and Mass General Laws. I'll cite you the chapter and the section, and bring more information from what the financial advisors have provided to us in terms of, I do have a schedule that I can share with you that shows their calculation. Okay, this is our revenue, this is how much we're allowed to have, and we are within the limits. So I'll share that with you. Maybe that will help you a little better. Thank you.
Thank you. Kafo, I have a concern and two questions that perhaps you may know. And on the first page of the expenditures, at the bottom, the miscellaneous totals seem to be really high this year for FY '26, and I'm wondering, does this cover, does this cover some of the city-owned vehicle insurance costs? Is that under miscellaneous?
Yes, so under that section, we have the pension assessment, which went up 400 and something thousand.
Yep.
The health and dental insurance, health went up over $1 million this year. Medicare also went up because that's based on the salaries, and salaries have gone up. Unemployment stayed the same. And we also have property and auto insurance. So that covers the properties that the city pays, and also all the fleet, police, fire, DPW, all the vehicles that we own.
Do we have any personal trucks that the city insures for employees under that? Are there any personal trucks that's use city insurance, or that they use mainly for work or anything like that?
Personal trucks, meaning?
Like, yeah, personal vehicles.
No,
No, so we don't have any personal vehicles that use city insurance?
not to my knowledge.
Okay. All right, so this is so
So this is like
The
all the police
pension,
vehicles,
the-
the fire trucks,
got it, okay.
the DPW vans, and so
Okay.
forth.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Council President?
Just a piggyback on that, on the insurance. State entities, they also have the same type of insurance for the vehicles. But something that the state does is that they limited the amount of vehicles that can go to people's properties. If they're not on call, they need to come over, they pick them up at the yard, and it's more productive, and the insurance reduce significantly because that vehicle actually stay within the city limit unless they justify to take those vehicles out within the state. The second most important part that the state does is that they don't allow vehicles to go out of state because they have the policy built in that those vehicles cannot go out. That doesn't happen in the city of Lawrence. And I would like to see how we can reduce the insurance by limiting the use of those vehicles if they are out of state. If they out of city, they need to be justified. And maintain those vehicles within the city limit will help tremendously. So that's something that I have brought up before. The fact that we have so many uncertainties coming up to the budget and to the funds, I think that that's a way to reduce potential amount of money. I know that went up by over 5%. Can you give us the exact amount of how much it went up?
Yes, so one of the things that we try to focus on is the claims that are brought up of vehicles. And we have met with the various departments when we do have department head meetings to make sure that the employees are aware of, have like training to make sure that they reduce the amount of claims that we have. Obviously, you know, police and fire, it's part of the job in terms of maybe the aggressiveness of the driving or whatever they have to do, but I have talked to the personnel director and tried to implement ways so that if an employee is a person that's known to have multiple accidents, that there will be disciplinary actions or something will be done, because obviously the more claims that we have with an insurance, the more expensive it's going to be.
Yeah. Who's in charge of that, Bill? What
My
department
department.
is under the
My
health
department, yeah.
But I'll suggest you, as a department head that is considered that, to create a policy that is on a case by case situation when it comes to taking the vehicles out of the city, because that will reduce tremendously not just the claims. Therefore, it will reduce the claims because that vehicle is less exposed driving it. And also, more importantly, is that the fact that the vehicles stay within city limits when it's not needed, it will reduce the insurance policies a significant amount. There is a reason why the state is doing it that way.
Okay.
And creating policies that actually look into that, because I mean, it will help. Not just on the claim portion of it, because I understand the claims are claims. It's an accident. But reducing the exposure of those vehicles to the street when they are not on service, that will reduce significantly when it comes to the potential accidents, or more importantly, the use of the vehicles if they're not justifiable. What I mean by that is, if you're on call, you have to have your vehicle. If you're doing a snow and ice, you have to have your vehicle. But if you're just going home, and tomorrow morning at 8 in the morning you're gonna come back, and you're using that vehicle with no justifications, you know what the state does? They charge the employees $3 per trip. And probably, maybe people might say, oh, it's $3, it's nothing. It's 365 days. If you work out of that 200 days or more, 250 days, that's $750. If you just leave it on a place that is stay-on, that doesn't mean that you're gonna leave it at your job site, no. You leave it on a place that is a stay-on, meaning close to your house and in a school. or not state-owned, it's a municipal-owned or state-owned. You live close to your house at the schools, at the, state facilities and stuff like that. That's also fine, but at least they have the policy of not getting out of the state, because those potential claims are more significant. Because potentially, we have accidents outside of the state, here in Lawrence. We have cases, and I know that have happened. So looking into that, creating policies that reduce that amount, it will significantly, without asking the employees to be nice and to be polite and and change your behavior, without asking, creating those policies that the responsibility we need to take to make sure that cost get reduced, that get reduced.
Understood.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Counselor Luzon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In here, the new school is under, enlighten me, because I'm not sure, that's why I'm asking. Is the new school, the two new school under the education budget, the school department budget?
Are you referring to the debt service related to the new schools, or are you referring to
Who's paying for the new school?
the city?
The city, okay. Because when I see here, education and this.
So what that is the chapter 78 that the school receives from the state, as well as the charter schools, they get money also. And the Greater Lawrence, sorry, you were on the expenses side, right? Yes. Yes, so that is the public schools, the Lawrence Public School, the budget, and most of that money does come from the state. The charter schools, we do have an assessment because some students from the city of Lawrence choose to go to a charter school versus the public schools. So what the state does is they allocate based on the number of kids that go to the charter schools, then they move that money with the students. So we do have an assessment that is, again, coming from the cherry sheet based on the number of students that are enrolled in the charter schools. And we also have to have an assessment for the Greater Lawrence Technical School for the kids that live in Lawrence and go to the vocational school.
The number is is really high this year.
Yes, the school, the school got additional $30+ million for the Student Opportunity Act. So basically, every money that they receive, it's allocated on the expenditure side. So they did get a lot of money this year, over $30 million.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, Careful, you're off the hook.
Yay.
For now.
For today.
Now, next we have, counselors, we did receive a call from the mayor's senior advisor to check in and make sure that we were okay. And during that quick period, we did talk about the budget. They're going to be rescheduled, and they're gonna be before us on another evening. So with that being said, we're going to move on to the city council budget, council president. And counselors, make sure to have good questions for the council president.
Yeah, I'll give it to you right now. Good evening, councilors. Today we're going to present the city council budget, and that's on page 25 all the way to page 27. So the city council budget represent the personal services, which is today about $342,300, which is the salary for the city council. For each city councilor, which is consists of $25,000 each, and the city council president, it will make $27,500. Purchase and services, for this year, recommended budget, it will be $108,000. Professional services, it will be $30,000. And supplies will be about $12,500. We have other charges and expenditures. We have about $10,000 for the total amount of dollars. For the total amount of $502,800. So a little over $500,000 for the budget of the City Council. Within that, we have personal services, which is the salary of the City Council, and also the salary for the secretary, or the executive secretary of the City Council. We have the purchase and services, which this year is about purchase and services, which is in this year we have $17,000 more, which is basically a transfer from the professional services previous year's amount that we have a cut on that,
Council President, can you
$15,000.
slow down just a little bit? Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a few questions. Yes, no problem. So the professional services, we have it a $15,000 cut, but that money was also allocated on the other purchase services or purchase of services, which we're gonna have more ability to spend. On the professional services, we have about $30,000 for this year, which is basically we paying every account that we have for professional services, like people that help us out with the TV, people help us out with the different POs that we have for the City Council. We also have different allocations on that, which corresponds of multiple POs, including business cards, including any type of allocation that we have for professional services. We have the supplies, which is office supplies, and operating supplies, which is basically everything the City Council uses for when it comes to printing, when it comes to supplies for the office, and when it comes to any other activities that we use for that funds. We have POs with Amazon. We have POs with different printing facilities, which allow us to function as a council. Under that, we also have the $500 allocation for this year, which allow us to be well represented in that with our concessions. Perhaps we have teachers with the city logo and the names and stuff like that. That we have used these funds for the last 3-4 years now. It's about $500 for each councilor. This year we're trying to be a little bit more, perhaps more open to different options if we have to, not just clothing, but other city council use things that we might be able to take advantage of to promote the services that we do at the city council. Essentially, our salary have changed last year, and that allocation is been reflected on this budget. And we also have the audit. The city council is responsible for the audit, which is about $70,000 each year. That's level funded, and we have the audit presentation coming up to the city council within the next few weeks, and they're going to give us a general overview of the finance when it comes to the federal government grants, when it comes to the state grants, and so far so on. We also have postage. We have on this budget, we zeroed it out. We actually get a $500 cut on that. And we have employee training on this item. We have about $2,000 increasement, because we believe that if the city council is trained, well trained, we're gonna have proper questioning, proper accountability, and so far so on, because we are the part of the government that bring balance and check to our local and municipal government. Any questions?
Councilors, Any questions or comments? Counselor Marmal.
You probably mentioned it, but because you spoke so fast and I'm just trying to follow along, let me just.
It's a strategic
king-
way of deserving the councilors. You see how it happened?
The king of questions doesn't want to get questioned, so he spoke quickly.
That's all they do to us. That's what people do to us. They go quick.
No, and as a counselor, you understand a lot as to where and how this money is being spent and how you're allocating it. But remind me again, in terms of dues and memberships, how exactly does that function? What does that actually mean?
Essentially, we, as councilors, I keep on promoting as a council president to be part of different organizations, so we can be up to date with information, with trustful information. We can be up to date with different conferences that we get invited to, and also network with other similar people that have that type of responsibilities around the state and around the nation.
And then my last question is, and I know you touched on it, but again, I didn't receive the message. I see that 15,000 was cut from professional services but allocated under other purchase services. Do you mind repeating yourself in terms of what does that entail?
Yes, of course. Under the purchase and service and the professional services, and in purchase and services, we have a little bit of leeway when it comes to expenditure. But more importantly is that we're going to be able to provide the quality of services that we intend to under that line item. As you can see, on professional services, we only have $30,000 allocation. In the last year, we have $45,000, and we cut this by $15,000. But on the fair set, we also allocate this same amount of dollars under the purchase and services due to the fact that potentially we're going to be able to move it a little bit within the audit, within printing and mailing, within other purchase and services, and employee trainings.
Thank you. Counselor Luzon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to have to ask the same question that I'm asking other the directors. I see a salary increase here, and before you answer, I want the people to know that the confidential secretary serves 9 people, and what I want to know, Council President, when was the last time that this salary was received a raise? When was the last time? So people can understand why you are proposing the salary increase.
Yeah, the last time she received an increase was on fiscal year 2024. 2025, she didn't receive an increasement. And like you said, Councilor Luzon, the confidential secretary for the City Council, it is for the entire City Council, which is serving
9 bosses.
9 different people, and need to respond to those 9 people. Also need to be confidential to those 9 councilors, and collaborate with other departments when the City Council need any type of service. As basics as calling the City Council and asking the secretary to transfer that phone call to another department, which potentially doesn't mean much, but it is part of the responsibilities. Also, she haven't been, the confidential secretary has been updated a little bit when it comes to the story that we did back then, like 3-4 years ago, and it get to a fair amount of dollars for the job that the confidential secretary does for the city of Lawrence. She's not the only confidential secretary in the city. I believe that there are 5. Few. The police department, the chief have one, and different other ones, the personnel have one, and all of them are getting similar. Our confidential secretary, I can tell you that she's very effective, and she served 9 people.
Thank you, Council President. And yes, we know that it's well-deserved. Working for 9 people, it's a lot. And she does a great job. So I'm glad to see this, even though that keep saying that we need to be careful with salary raises. But this one, not because she is it's that she serves 9 counselors, and with that also the constituents that are always in the office, and she does an amazing job. Thank you for your response, Council President.
No problem.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Councilors, it's also important to recognize that one thing, just out of transparency, that we need to bring up is that we have salaries and wages for temporary salaries and
That was
wages.
going to be my question.
Yes. The intent for these temporary salaries and wages is because we just mentioned our secretary, confidential secretary, sometimes is not enough for 9 different people. So what we're trying to do in the near future or in the future is, if the budget goes through, is to potentially have either a part-timer to come over or, to work for the city council, or perhaps have a program that we can share our knowledge, professional knowledge at the city council with different students as an intern. Potentially, we haven't made a determination, but we allocating the funds to see how we're going to be able to maybe have an internship, a paid internship for the students, not for the city council perhaps, for the students to learn and be able to have that pipeline of future leadership within the city of Lawrence, so they can get to understand what this body does and how they can eventually in the future potentially be able to do the same.
And help the secretary, the confidential secretary,
Yeah.
run the city council office. Council Marmo.
Council President, I think that it's an amazing idea, but I think it's also important to, at a later point in time, that, I'm not sure if that falls on your end or on city council's end, to then decipher as to what responsibilities will fall for the secretary and what would be the responsibilities that would fall for this intern.
Yeah, if we have
Just
that,
kind
yeah.
of establishing clear boundaries as to what are the duties of one position over the other.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we haven't decided anything yet, but essentially it will be for the city council through the city councilors. You are going to have, like I mentioned it a couple of seconds ago, you're going to have that institutional knowledge, passing it over to the new generation if we have an internship, because we have seen that having a paid internship program within different institutions like the city council, that paid off long term. And having that opportunity with a amount of dollars that is not something that is going to affect us that much, I think that having that opportunity for the kids will help the community long term.
I do want to, for counselors that, you know, have been here for a while and plan to be here for a while, if the community, you know, reelects them. Given the rapid growth of our community, I think the city council as a whole should start thinking about having a conversation in the near future of counselors becoming full-time positions instead of part-time like how we're seeing. We do a lot of work. We oftentimes work many, many hours of the day, the weekends. It's pretty, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that people don't see that pertains to our jobs. And what I'm learning is in other municipalities, perhaps not with as many people as we have, but counselors have, you know, an assistant or their own office, et cetera, et cetera. And like I mentioned, as we begin to grow, that's probably something that the city government should be looking into in the future. And I want to put that out there.
No, thank you. I mean, I definitely understand the work we do. I'm on the same boat. And I definitely understand where you're coming from.
And just to reiterate to the public, because many people believe that we make six figures or something. City councilors, our salaries are $25,000, with the council president earning $27,000. So we generally do this work because we care and because we want to serve our communities. We're not getting rich off of this position, this job, and I want to make that clear. Because there's a misconception out in the public about how much city councilors in Lawrence earn.
Yeah, I mean, and that's because the salary increased 2-3 years ago. Before it used to be 15,000.
When I started, it was 15,000.
Yeah.
And when I started, I wasn't even getting a salary because I was a public employee for Greater Lawrence Technical School. So I was only allowed one, and I chose my full-time job. But $15,000.
Yeah, but we the city council we care. I'm not saying that nobody cares. I'm saying that we as a city councilors, as the president of the city council, I can tell you that the amount of work that we all put together. I speak with a lot of you guys every time, and you every time I make a phone call, you drop whatever you guys doing, and pick on that issue, discuss the what is going on, and be able to have that within your plate. It is something that is amazing. It's amazing. A lot of people don't see it that way, but we understand the job that it takes and the work. The amount of hours. But yeah, I mean, this is the budget for the city council.
Madam Chair, if I may,
Councilor Zone.
before the president leaves, goes back to his seat, I see a change under the salary and wages, temporary.
Yeah, that's what we
That's what
discussed.
we were just talking about.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So
Potential
went over
interns or a
that?
part-timer?
The part-timer.
A
Okay.
potential interns or a part-timer?
Oh, okay, thank you, Council President.
Yeah.
You know, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments for the council president? I think you're all
Thank you
set,
so much.
Council President. Okay, that was the last hearing for this evening. Kaf, was there any other questions, comments, anything? Nope, you're good. Counselors, any final questions, comments? We are good. So our next
Motion to recess.
meeting will be tomorrow, May 22nd. We have Council on Aging, Veterans Office, the Rec Department, Fire Department, and Inspectional Services. Maria, can you please make a note, can you please let Teresa know that we need to reschedule the mayor's office, Office of Planning and Development, and the police department? Yep.
Can we add those three that were rescheduled today into the next 3 days that we have, instead of just adding a new day? Because I mean, we'll be
Yeah, no, it's within the scheduled
within the
dates.
schedule, but I mean.
Yeah.
for the
I'm
schedule,
trying
but I
to
don't know.
avoid the
I'll-
extra day,
Thank
yeah. Yeah, if possible. But, between, yeah, if possible, but if June 2nd is actually needed, then we'll schedule it. But if we can schedule them within tomorrow, Wednesday, the 28th, and Thursday, the 29th, that would be preferred. All right, counselors,
Motion to recess.
Motion to recess by Council President, seconded by the Vice Chair. All those in favor say aye. Aye, and the ayes have it. Thank you so much, counselors. Thank you.